And then I crush it, tell my girl why I'm so bold. Until she trusts it. I'm like the world inside a snow globe. Rap for the memory.
So we're driving along, and the discussion becomes when the kids grow up and they come and ask about significant partners, right? We're talking, I want to move in with this person. I want to marry this person. I want to have children with this person. You know, not just, hey, this dude's coming in at 2 a.m. and we're going to do some things. Not that guy. I'm probably never going to know that guy, hopefully. But the truth is, both kids are going to come and ask, you know, what qualities do I look for? What makes a successful relationship? Where do relationships fail? And so we start to discuss as adults, what's the advice that you give your 25-year-old kid when they ask that question? What's the advice? And the first comment is, well, it's important that you get to know that person, right? It's important that you're able to dig deep, be patient, take some time, and figure out your partner. What makes them tick? What sets them off? You know, what's great about them? Are you learning their family? Are you learning their experiences? Where do they come from? Why are they the way that they are? I think that's a great thing to know. Another aspect, how well do you know yourself? I think that's a great thing to know. What makes you tick? What makes you upset? What makes you sad? How's your family set up? Where do you fit in your family? Where do you fit among your siblings? Firstborn, secondborn, thirdborn, youngest child. Those characteristics are real. Those are characteristics that do play a part in how we get down in the world. You know what I mean? And I think that that's a very important concept to discuss. Another aspect that some of the parents discussed was, how do you raise your children? Do we have a plan on, you know, what we're going to do, what religion we're going to raise them, how we're going to approach school, how are we going to approach discipline, who's responsible for the discipline? And I think all of those things are wonderful, wonderful things. The difficulty is that we change throughout our lives. Our perspectives change, right? Our experience from day one, hey, here's my stick, I'm pregnant, from day one until your child is entering school at 5, until your child is developing their religious preferences, until your child says, hey, I want to play this sport, and you haven't discussed that. Or your perspectives change, right? What I want for my kid when I'm 28 may not necessarily be what I want for my kid at 35, right? And so me and my partner then have discussed and we've laid out a plan, but that plan's no longer applicable. It no longer makes sense, right? Like, hey, we're going to send our kids to private school, but you're fooling around. You still broke, right? You ain't got private school money. You got public school money. You got nigga get on the bus money. That's what you have, but you don't have private school money. You don't have a kid that can go to private school, right? You don't have a kid that has the scholastic and educational prowess to succeed in that. So all of your wonderful plans, right, at the beginning, they may not be applicable as we grow through our parenting journey. So I thought, you know what? My number one key to that advice, that question, you need to know how your partner fights, right? You need to know how your partner problem solves, because that is probably something that's not going to change. If you have a partner that goes for the jugular, that takes messages that you've given them in a time where you are vulnerable, and then they weaponize that information, they're probably going to fight like that all the way out, right? There's only two ways to have a disagreement in a relationship. You're either trying hard to solve the problem or you're trying hard to win the fight. And a person that tries hard to win the fight will do so at whatever peril, right? They'll weaponize information, they'll weaponize the children, they'll weaponize finances because they want to win the fight, right? My point is paramount. My point is important. My point is the only way to do things, and I'm going to win this argument in order to do that process, regardless of if my point is actually the best option for how we're parenting, right? I gotta win the fight. And that's not something that you want to deal with. And it only comes up in hard times, right? It's very easy to evaluate how fun your partner is and want to marry that, right? That's awesome. We go out to eat, we dance. She orders the greatest stuff. I love how she gives massages. Sure, but you're guaranteed to have a problem. That's just how life works, right? You're guaranteed to have difficulty. You're guaranteed to have a fight. And if you're guaranteed to have that, then you got to know how it works when you get it, right? If your partner is supportive in their arguing, right? If they pay attention to the word use that they have, they pay attention to their tone, do they pay attention to how they're speaking to you, right? You got to remember, whether you're fighting or you're in love, you're talking to a person that you love. So are they cavalier with your feelings, or do they consider how their words will make you feel, how their words will solve the problem, right? I.e., if we decided we were going to send our kids to private school, they grow up, they're not private school material, and now we got to revamp what the issue is. Are they calling names, or are they saying, okay, well, let's solve this problem. What are our other options, and how do we move forward? And those things will disintegrate a relationship. They'll tear your relationship apart. If you understand how your partner fights, if you understand how they deal and process stress, right, that will let you know what kind of caliber of a relationship you're going to have all the way out. Because there's not an existence where you can menu plot out every problem that you're going to face in your marriage, in your relationship, in your parenting journey, solve all the problems at the beginning, and then live a wonderful life. And I don't think that that's information that we get as young people. I never got it. I never got, hey, yeah, she's great. How does she fight? I got, get a pretty girl that's smart, that won't give you any problemes. Right, well, that's great. Everybody's that at the first 6 weeks. Everybody's wonderful when you first meet them, right? And they're not even lying. They're just excited to be with you. You're wonderful when you first meet a person. But as we go on and life wears on us, we start to develop, issues with ourselves, with one another that come in from outside. And then when you're tired and when you're beat down and when you're frustrated, how are you fighting your partner? Right? How are you going about that? And I think it's imperative to know, it's imperative to process, and it's important to be able to say, yes, I can deal with the worst day that this person presents. I can deal with that, right? I can move on from that. I can work with that. We're going to solve some problems. We're going to talk until we're done talking. Then we're going to make some sort of compromise that's the best version of each of us. Versus, if I win the argument, the only way to win anything is for somebody else to lose. So if I win an argument, that means you're a loser, right? Is that the category you're trying to put your mate in, the father or mother of your child? No, you don't want a loser for a second parent. You want to have two winners, right? And so I think as I thought about relationships, my own relationships, past, present, future, friendship, work, romantic, all of those things, what are the things that drive you apart? What are the things that are insurmountable? It's how you fight. How you fight. You're going to get into a fight. Nobody usually breaks up during the happiest point. Oh my God, that was so great. That was so fun. Oh God. Hey, don't ever call me again. That never goes. That never goes, right? That's not a thing. It's always, this person drives me crazy. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. I can't deal with you anymore. I'm out of here, right? But if you fight correctly, because like I say, you're going to have a fight. That's just a given. And I think that that's the difficulty with young people, is that you get in this sort of pre-honeymoon phase and believe that's the standard of the relationship, and it's not. It should be a big part of it for sure, but the standard is you're going to have a fight, right? And now how do you argue? When we finish arguing, do I come out of it feeling like, sure, the road sucked, but do I come out of it feeling like I've accomplished some things, I've done some things, I feel like I'm a closer partner to my partner, that I can trust my partner to surmount issues, that my partner sees me and hears me and respects me? Do I come out of an argument that way? Or do I come out holding on to something and thinking, you're going to get paid for this, I'm vindictive, right? You're going to have to pay for what you just said to me, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, tomorrow, whatever. I'm not going to forget that. I'm going to use it against you later in a different argument. Because if you're coming out feeling that way, it'll just eat away at the fabric of your relationship. And that will eat away at the example of the relationship that you're trying to set for the kids. And it makes it a lot more difficult for the children to come to you and say, what is it that I should be doing and looking for when I'm getting in this relationship? If you give them contrary advice to what they have witnessed, they start to think that you're an incredible messenger, right? Like, what you're telling me is bullshit. So I don't believe you. I don't trust you. And now, as a child who's asking for guidance, I don't even know what to look at. I don't know whether I go along with what you're saying because it's right and you just didn't do it. I don't go along with it because you just say stuff so you can be the hero of the day. What do I do? And you leave the child in confusion, right? At the most important part of their journey, right? The most important part of the journey is, I want to be a good partner, and how do I do it? And what you're saying as the partner is, or as the parent is, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say something, and maybe that's right. Hopefully it works out. So think about things. Think about the answers that you want to give. Think about your own relationship. What are you guaranteed to have in the relationship, right? What are you striving to avoid in the relationship? How are you processing through plans? Are you just conceding so you don't have to have confrontation? Happy wife, happy life, whatever she says goes, that type of thing, just so you don't have to have a problem? Because if that's the case, you're never going to be able to excel into a place where you sort of maximized your whole potential as a person, as a couple, as a family, as a generation, the whole get down. You can't excel that way. Or are you able to say, all right, well, we will have confrontation, and we will make sure it's the most positive and respectful confrontation that we can in order to get to maximizing what we have in our relationship. And if you can believe that, and you can trust that, and you can remember that, even during the fight, even during the argument, it makes it a lot easier to come back from the argument, right? When it's over, we got to make up. It makes it a lot easier for you to sort of move through life with this person, host of benefits. Anyway, check us out on YouTube. We have a new RSF feed, right? So check us out where you get your podcast, Dad and Change, Instagram, everywhere you get your social media. HumbleNorthAmerica.com. We do have t-shirts out. Go to the website, check those out. Pick up a t-shirt. Love life. Anyway, have a good day.
Chunks of meat I keep to torture, friggin' orchards full of suckers, even thieves and frauds. They couldn't stop a mortal boss. I'm about to boss around the block of undereducated, mitigated, mindless infiltrated, ever hated fucking faggot population. Take this medicine, I'm the Edison in the darkest part to see.